Hello everyone, it's me, Riffraff Hornhelm, and I'm back again with another presentation from the Dwarven Vault, and today we have another monster review. Today we're going to talk to you about the Type 1 Demon, the Vrock. And once again, this is part of our ongoing series of turnable undead creatures as taken from the original monster manual for use with basic Dungeons & Dragons, advanced Dungeons & Dragons, or what's typically called 1E today. So what can we tell you about the Vrock, that Type 1 demon? Well, they're not as bad as you'd think. And they're tall, they're like 8.5 feet tall, and they look like a combination between like a human and a vulture. They're also as dumb as a rock. They have very low intelligence. It's not all bad, because in the end, they have 8 hit dice, and they also have a 0 armor class. And most importantly, a 50% magic resistance. That's not a bad combination. And of course, they have all these shared demonic powers that we talked about in the video about shared demonic powers. All demons have. That includes things like being able to cast darkness like a spell, and a few other things. We'll get into that in a little bit here. So the Vrock, which hates humans, loves human flesh, just absolutely, I mean, that's like lobster to them or whatever your favorite meal is. And they also have a real problem with wanting things that us dwarves covet. So things like precious gems and precious metals, jewels, this kind of stuff. They really like that. So us dwarves certainly do not like the Vrock. Not that we like any demons, and not that we want to get anywhere near this stuff. This is just something that us dwarves make a real effort to stay away from. Now, they can also do some neat things like detect invisible objects and telekinesis up to 2,000 gold piece weight. Most importantly, they have a small chance, only 10%, of gating in another Type 1 demon. If you were to run into these in a wandering encounter, they're typically either 1 to 3 or 2 to 6 that you'll run into. You're probably less likely to run into these singularly, only because I think it's kind of useless to have an encounter with just one. They're not the strongest out there. Yes, they do have some magical ability, and while they do have a 0 armor class, they can be hit by normal weapons. The demons that we're speaking about that are considered minor demons and therefore turnable as a special on the table for turning undead are also all ones that can be struck by normal weapons. We're going to talk about several other types. They all have this shared trait as a minor demon. So really, in going out and talking to the greater Hornhelm community, what about the Vrock? What kind of an opponent is the Vrock? From a DM standpoint, we didn't rank them very high. Even though they have high armor class, they're not very smart. And though they do have 5 attacks, haven't mentioned that before, 5 attacks, none of them are that big of a singular attack. I think it's 1 to 4, 1 to 4, 1 to 8, and then twice, and then 1 to 6 for the beak. If they all hit and you roll well, trying to assign damage, they can do a reasonable amount of damage, but really not that much. So the greater Hornhelm Dungeon Master community came back and said, well, really, we're looking at probably a 4, 4.5. Now, in talking to players on that side, this is one of the few times they actually ranked them a bit lower. They figured 3.5 to 4. But once again, the most important thing is it's what you know. prepare. If you're going to deal with things that are from the nether regions, especially if you're going to be traveling in the nether regions, be prepared. Knowing your adversary is 90% of the battle, because it's going to help you to make much smarter choices. The Vrock is definitely not the most dangerous demon out there. That's why it's a minor demon and why it can be turned. To be honest, for the level of power that it has, it almost seems a shame that you need a minimum 8th level cleric to be able to turn this, because it shows up as a special on the turn chart. Certainly, I think something like a vampire or a ghost or a specter are all more difficult to deal with than a type 1 demon. Wasn't perfect, but it is the way it was. So that, my friends, is the type 1 demon, the Vrock, a turnable minor demon, and I hope you found this interesting, informative, all that kind of good stuff. If you did, please give us a like, share with your friends, leave us a comment. By all means, if you haven't subscribed, please do. And we'll look forward to seeing you again real soon. We thank you so much for your kind support. Take care, everyone, and remember, dwarves rock!